Welcome back. The Great Ethiopia Run was by far the most fun I've ever had in a sporting event. Besides the fact that I was at 7,000 feet above sea level, I could barely catch my breath. Everyone around me seemed to be singing and chanting the entire time. Check this out.
We're going to be going to the largest run in all of Africa. It's happening in Ethiopia, and I'm excited to be here because we've been here for a month, or a week actually, down in the south of Ethiopia, and now we are in Addis, and we get to experience this incredible run put on by a guy named Gabriel Haile Selassie, who is, Haile Gabriel Selassie. He is the world record holder in the marathon. It's his event that he's put on. And we're doing this to bring awareness to the plight of people in Ethiopia that need water, and it's part of Run for Water. So it's kind of a cool experience to be with the culture, be with the people that need help, and to be part of the biggest run in all of Africa. So here we go. What an incredible experience. Just finished a 10K Great Ethiopian Run. Just an incredible, euphoric experience. 50,000 people registered. I'm sure, man, judging from what I saw, at least 5,000, 10,000 people jumping over the rails just to participate. These people are so proud of their country and of the fact that they have some of the top elite runners in the world running in this race. Obviously, Haile Gabriel Selassie, the fastest marathon time in the world. It was his run. He started it about 7 years ago. He was the one who launched the race, did the countdown, standing up there, judging by the faces of all the people watching. Just excitement at his presence and the fact that Ethiopia is an amazing country and the fact that running is their national sport. For me, I've done the Vancouver Sun Run, and big on the crowds. That once it starts, everyone's kind of quiet and gets into their rhythm of the run. Not here in Addis. I was with this pack of, must have been, it seems like 1,000 people. Everyone's jumping and dancing and bouncing and singing the entire time. There's just energy as people move along this race. It was an incredible experience. A couple of high points for me. We came about the 6K mark, and this little kid comes out off the fence. He's maybe an 8, 9-year-old, maybe a street kid, I don't know. Pretty ragged looking kid. And he's collecting bottles, obviously, to try to eke out an existence here in the city. And he comes up to me and he kind of starts to run with me, and he's looking up at me, and his hand goes up, and I grab his hand, and he runs with me for about 1 kilometer. And I'm just feeling this connection that I have with Africa as I run with this guy from kilometer 7 to 8. And I'm looking for something to give him. All I've got is this gel pack I had. I pull it out and I give it to him, and his eyes just light up. Maybe the most calories this kid has had in a week or so. He rips it open, and he starts squirting. He sees a friend on the side, and he's holding up this gel pack that I gave him. He's like kind of yelling at his friend, saying like, "Look what I got." And I realized that for me, this is not just a run, not just a fun sporting experience, but it was a connection that I had with the people of Africa.
Dan Murphy is filled with hilarious stories from the Vancouver Canucks dressing room. I asked him a couple of his top favorites. Here's what he said.
One of the things that's so fascinating, particularly about the Canucks, is that in this town, in Vancouver, I mean, sports is about Canucks. People live, eat, breathe this stuff. What is it about sports? And maybe this is a kind of a bizarre philosophical question, but what is it about sports that kind of, it's sometimes people's life? Like, what is it about that?
I think it's because if you've got a team in your city, the fans feel like they take ownership of it. They take pride in it. It's something that everybody can get behind and cheer together. You know, it's something where you can go home and fathers and sons and daughters, families watch the game. And once you've had a team and players to cheer for a while, people kind of feel like they know those players. They're kind of like, you know, the slogan for the Canucks is "We're all Canucks," and they're trying to get the real, you know, kind of the ownership for the town. I think people just take pride in it. And of course, then it becomes, you know, versus Calgary and Edmonton, and the rivalries pop up. So I think that's the most reason why people just gravitate to it, and it's fun too.
Yeah, but you know, to me it seems like, I mean, I have a buddy it seems like his emotional life is tied to the Canucks.
Yeah.
If they're doing well, he's living like great. And when they suck, he's like, I'm grumpy. I hate life. I go, what's going on? He goes, Canucks lost last night. I went, oh right, you're like fused to the Canucks emotionally. Do you run across people like that?
Oh, of course. Everywhere you go. I mean, it's I don't know if it's sad, but it's their biggest hobby.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's what they take the most joy in, and it's what they feel most pain when
Does
the
it
team's
happen with
losing.
you because this is your job, or do you like switch it off, or do you go, no, I'm still a fan too?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still a fan, but you have to be a little bit careful because you want to be as unbiased as possible. Now, I would say that if I wasn't at least a little bit cheering for the Canucks, my job would be awfully boring because you want to have some sort of interest in every game. But then you have to watch it too because you're covering another team and say, Jerome McGinley scores an overtime winner night. As a Canucks fan, I'm kind of like, well, yeah, whatever. But then when you're interviewing Jerome, you got to be happy for the other team as well. And the other fans. So you have to be careful. But I think it's safe to have a little bit of rooting interest in your team. You just can't show it on the air.
Dan, I mean, you've been traveling and been covering the Canucks for, I mean, how many years now?
8 years.
8 years.
8 years, yeah.
I mean, tell me a little bit about what you see in this team that you love.
I think the thing I see now is just it's a breath of fresh air. I mean, I liked Trevor Linden, I loved Brendan Morrison and Marcus Naslund, but now with this team, you've got younger guys that are kind of, okay, it's our team now. You know, the old guard is kind of out. I like that. I like the speed. I like the hunger. You know, a lot of the young guys really want to make their mark. And I think that there's a real good leadership group in there right now. So those are the things I like, and of course, it's tough not to like Luongo when he's healthy.
Incredible. Yeah.
So that's the reason why I think they're going to be, at least somewhat successful. I still think they're a couple steps away from really challenging the San Jose's and the Detroits, but I think they're a playoff team, which is what a lot of people didn't think they would be this year.
Final question, Dan. Give me one story of like either with the traveling Canucks in the dressing room where you said that was a funny moment with Canucks.
In Pittsburgh, a few years back, Daniel and Henrik Sedin, I asked for Daniel for the post-game interview, and they had already changed in their suits, and they come up behind me. So someone said, here he comes, and they got together, sent out Henrik. So I did the interview thinking it was Daniel at that point, and then it finished, and we did the whole interview, and then I'm sitting on the plane, and I see them come, because I can tell them apart 95% of the time.
And you've been working with them.
Yeah. So I see them walking the plane, and I said, hey, Daniel, I said, that's not the suit he was wearing after, and so they pulled a fast one on me.
And they knew it. They recall all of it.
Yeah, they pulled the wool over my eyes. So.
Dan, thanks so much for chatting
problem.
today. It was so cool.
Thanks for having me.
You bet.
After the break, I learned how to take a roundhouse kick to my head in my attempt to become a ninja master. Welcome back. Kirk trains stuntmen on how to sell a punch or a kick for the camera. I wanted to try my hand at selling a kick. Here's the result. Tell me a little about your facility here, because I'm looking around. You've got this huge wall that comes down as a boxing ring.
Yes, sir.
And so you can do boxing in here. You've got this huge mat. You're telling me that breaks away for stuntmen to learn how to do high falls.
Yeah. Well, I like to think of this room as sort of our chameleon room. It's got a lot of versatility going on. So as you say, we've got, one day we can have it matted up and we're doing gymnastics on the floor, or throws and break falls and so forth. The next day those are gone and we're doing a kung fu class.
Because you train a lot of these stuntmen for films, for movies.
Yeah. So
I would love, Kirk, for you to teach me some moves.
Love to.
Can you teach me some stuff? Maybe teach me a fall or some punches or something?
I'll see what I can do.
Let's go.
1, 2, 3.
Kirk, I want to say thank you so much for showing me around your studio. The one thing I loved most was the fact that when you talk about being in the moment,
Yes.
When you're hitting those, kicking me,
Yeah.
and, and I'm doing those jumps, all I'm thinking about is make sure you don't get hit. And I'm not thinking about what I'm going to pick up for dinner tonight.
Yeah.
You really do have to be in the moment, don't you?
You have to be in the moment. Exactly.
Wow.
And,
Kirk, this is such a great place. Thanks so much for all your help.
You're very welcome. Anytime.
Sport has universal appeal. Everywhere around the planet, you see little kids kicking a soccer ball in the dust or making games up in the schoolyard. I'm convinced that the desire to play taps into something very profoundly human in us. Think about it. The largest watched sporting events on television are things like the Olympics or the World Cup of Soccer. Even my most highest and lowest memories are connected with sports. High point, running across the finish line on my very first marathon. Low point, watching the Canucks lose in Game 7 to the New York Rangers. Whether it's participating or watching, our desire to compete and to cheer on our team connects with our need to belong, to feel like we're part of something larger than ourselves. Thanks for watching. I'm Round O' Mark. That's my perspective.